Hello, and welcome to Awakening with Adam. I'm your host, Adam. And what would you say if I told you there were only 2 weeks left and everything around us will be permanently changed? What would you do if you believed me? Well, I'll give you some advice. Number one, don't panic, have faith. All right, well, if there's 2 weeks left, how would you behave? Hoard survival gear is an option that comes to mind, but what happens when the gear breaks or is lost? Do you have the knowledge to build a new axe or start a fire from scratch? Knowledge will be better than gear moving forward. Just a words to the wise. What else might you do? Make peace with your loved ones and anyone else you may feel the need? Well, I'll give you a little advice on that one as well. There's no reason to hold it in now or ever. You should speak your piece. Be transparent. Communication is key in all relationships. So, you should just do that anyways, really. Sit in prayer, try to find God. We'll come back to that one. The last option might be warn everyone you know. Make some video on your obscure, or at least currently obscure YouTube channel. Who knows? But eventually, if you do believe that you have 2 weeks left, all of the physicality of your life will melt away and you'll be left with you. And if you're alone, or you feel alone, you may want to go inward and sit in prayer and try to find God, especially if you have never established this relationship before or this connection. Maybe it's something you're curious about. Well, as they say, everyone believes in God when they're about to die, right? And we don't need to be all apocalyptic about it, but let's say for this thought exercise that that's the path that you choose. So you'd ask the question, of course, how do I connect to God or Jesus? Well, how about I give you a little tutorial right now? Usually it's nice to find a peaceful place. Jesus supposedly said you could do it in a closet, just so that you are alone and you're not performative. This is for you. All right? Step one, focus on your heart. That might seem vague at first, but the more you try, the more you will feel that you are doing it correctly. And it's not hard. We're humans. This is one of our super abilities. Just not everybody utilizes. All right? So focus on your heart and set your intention. What is your intention? Well, there's a whole wide variety, but each time you pray, you'll have a specific intention, undoubtedly. But many people, you use words or prayers to help them set that intention, to get into that feeling of oneness and connected with Godness. So, what are some of those prayers? What might that look like? Well, maybe you just set your intention and say, Dear God, I really need a hug right now. Or, God, please give me the experience of oneness with you and all that is. Or perhaps you're praying to Christ and asking for forgiveness and asking to be led into the light of God so that you may experience the kingdom of heaven. So I give you a variety here. Not to say that any one or any of the ones I've listed are better than the other, or a prayer that you may have heard, but to express that it's not as much about the words as it is about your intention and the feeling that goes along with your active intent to create this connection. Okay, so you've gotten this far. Congratulations. That's a big step. Just trying is big. So what happens next? Well, you can sit there for a moment, however long you'd like. But while you're there, one thing you can feel is contentment and knowing that you've taken that first step. It may not be a bolt of lightning that comes down and finds you in your laundry closet, but it could be the singing of a bird, or your favorite song comes on in the background on the radio. Any of these little signs or hellos from the spirit realm might be experienced when you're sitting in the contentment. Again, you've made the first step. So it's time to relax and listen. And your new responsibility really is to keep your heart, your ears, and your eyes open for these little signs, or for your motivator situation, or something to guide you or nudge you. And when you feel it, you'll know it. And it may seem obscure or may seem new, but go with it. Give it a try. What is this new compulsion you're feeling from within, from the heart? Well, your next experience will be yours, and I hope that you share them down in the comments. But for many people, after this first experience of connecting with God, and your experience will vary, obviously, there are a few things that you might want to know about opening your heart. Okay, a few notes we should make. One, the big one, is many of us are foreign to our own hearts. And so it may even feel uncomfortable or weird to be feeling as intently and intentionally as you are doing. Some of us may only have our hearts swayed in movies or by music, and otherwise keep it closed off for ourselves because we've been hurt before. Another thing to know is because many of us are foreign to living in our hearts in this space, there will be a backlog of experiences and emotions that will need to be processed. I wish I could tell you that that weren't the case, but it's for the best. And so things will come up when you're living in this heart space, and you're praying from this heart space, even activating at once. Old things will come up, and you'll wonder, wow, that is a really strange thing. But use that opportunity to dive deep and make sure you explore your experience, your understanding, your awareness, your recollection, all of the information you have about that situation. Go to all the corners. Make sure that there's nothing, no stone unturned. And then once you sit with that emotion and process it, you will feel a weight lifted. Now, another thing to note about opening the heart is that this takes time. Each of those things that comes up and presents itself to you, each of those topics or past pain or hurts or triggers, these things that come up, it's your responsibility now to treat those as if they were a small child. Each incident, each situation, treat each one like a small child. Be gentle and patient, because you need to be gentle and patient with yourself. And again, lead with the heart, because you will observe the good and the bad. But there's some notes about this. One, there's no rush. Okay? The 2 weeks thing is a thought exercise to get you to this point. But once you've started prayer, once you've asked for that connection to God, you're on the path. Okay? So there's no rush. We all get there in time. The good and bad, describing for the situations that may occur, the different aspects of the situations that come up, are really humanalities. All right? That's our mind's distinction. But our heart and our soul do not feel those lines. And so when we're working with our heart, we need to understand that we're embracing the entire situation and that all is for the lesson and the lesson is for our good. Okay? Another thing that's important to remember is that God, Jesus, our angels are with you always. And the only separation that exists, again, is a concept in your mind. Okay? Now, this is a lot. You're doing some heavy lifting with this process. And so, excuse me, you may experience some after effects. One of which, undoubtedly, you will experience if you're putting your whole heart into this and your whole intention, is exhaustion. It's very common for a number of reasons, but is not a bad thing at all. It's a sign that you've put in real effort, and know that all effort you put in to finding God, to truly connecting, will be rewarded in time. Okay? After effect number 2, isolating oneself is very common. And again, for a number of reasons. But when you are feeling this oneness with God, you afterwards will feel the difference, the discrepancy between maybe the normal physicality-based life that you've been living and the intenseness of the feeling of oneness when you move into your heart. And so there will be many things that you will naturally just distance yourself from, or you've come out of resonance with, and they will drift away, and that's okay. Just know that it's okay. It's part of the process. And the third thing that will undoubtedly occur in this process is guilt. Now, books and books have been written about this, so I won't go too deep, but we've all made mistakes, all right? But we don't stop making the mistake until we've analyzed it, found the lesson, and forgiven ourselves. Okay? It's still a mistake until you find the lesson, forgive yourself, and step 3, move on. All right, everybody. That was a big one. That was a lot of stuff. I am here to answer all your questions and comments and concerns down in the comment section, as usual. I want you all to feel loved today. Go out and create the world that you want to see. All right. Stay blessed, everyone. Big love.